So a little bit more on kind of a little bit of background, because there's a very scary slide coming up, which I'm not particularly proud of, but it's interesting to kind of note how we got there. So the development department itself, as the company has grown over a number of years, of course, grows organically. There's also been a number of acquisitions. Now that means, and this is the slide I'm not particularly proud of, that at a certain point in time, you take a step back and you realize that you've got an awful lot of systems. And these systems, typically siloed, they've come from acquisitions or perhaps little teams that have written their own stuff, proprietary systems, stuff on Lotus Notes, not that I'm knocking notes, spreadsheets all over the place, and we end up with spreadsheets of spreadsheets with macros that start to rival the complexity of the interest calculations. So it starts to get hard. And the problems mean that when you're trying to find out what's going on, and is this particular strategic project, which is cutting across multiple teams, in multiple locations, using multiple technologies or multiple tiers, and all that fun stuff that we'll have to do with, gets kind of tricky. The chap rowing backwards towards his waterfall is a nice picture. I like that. In one of our cases, one of the particular extracts from one of our older systems took 2 man-days to run. It took somebody 2 days to get the data out. And then, of course, you have that horrible part where the numbers don't quite add up because system A and B is telling you X, and these other 2 systems are telling you a different number, and suddenly it's all very tricky. So, what were we going to do about it? Well, I guess the first step was, rather like an alcoholic, is at least recognizing that there was a problem. This all started summer 2008, really, when myself and some colleagues went along to a Butler conference and looked at some of the products out there and suddenly realized, it doesn't have to be like this. I don't have to have a 6 megabyte spreadsheet to understand what the hell's going on. Now, I should say, in case you're wondering, that we were still getting out quality software every month, but it was really hard to find out what was going on and how we were getting out and where the money was going, how much time we were spending, whether things were overrunning. So we came up with some different approaches. Of course, being a software house, there's the build it option. It's software, right? We can write software. How hard can it be? Then there was one approach was to say, well, there's lots of different problems we're trying to solve here. And there's lots of different bits of solutions out there. So let's take that best of breed approach and stick it all together. There were a couple of voices that said, well, it's all terribly risky. Let's just, it's not too bad. We'll write some cleverer macros and we'll get the extraction times down and that'll be quicker. Or we could try and buy something that's an integrated solution that covers all of our bases. Now, of course, that's our pitch. Our pitch as a product vendor is we're selling you an integrated system that solves all of your problems. So this one sounded attractive. The question was it really out there? And if it is out there, how the hell do we evaluate it? So if you ask a bunch of developers, there's a problem about software, and you ask them what they're going to do about it, what do you think the answer is? Interestingly, though, when it really came to it, and I said, okay, so you want to build this, so let's put to one side for the moment that we write banking software and we don't know anything about it. Let's just conveniently put that to one side. Actually, how are you going to do that? And how long is it going to take you? And suddenly, the build it option started to look less attractive. Now, going back many years, we used to have our own source control system. We wrote one, donkeys years ago. And we had our own timesheet system. So we had kind of bits of this stuff. So maybe it's not too hard. And then we looked at the planning and the source control and started to think, yeah, maybe not. Nobody stepped up and said, yeah, let's build it. So the way we did it is we said, okay, I want people to step up and champion each one of these options. Eventually, after some debate, nobody stepped up to the build it champion. And again, although we had a couple of guys who said, okay, we'll champion the best of breed approach. We'll go away and work out what systems we're going to get, how we're going to glue them together, and how much work that's going to be. And when they sat down and did it, the gluing code, those estimates turned out to be quite high. The do-nothing approach, yeah, strangely, nobody fancied that one either. So then we had the integrated solution. Okay, so what's out there? So we went back to the people that we saw and we liked the look of it at the Application Development and Lifecycle Management, a shorter term for conference. And we went back, and IBM Rational was one of them, and there was another well-known solution, which I'm not going to mention, unless you get me in the bar. And we did some workshops with key stakeholders, with both vendors, and then we ran some surveys. So we asked the users exactly what it is that they thought. And this was very strange for us, especially from the development side. We're so used to being on the other side of the table. We're so used to being the big bad supplier that's getting a kicking from the customers. And suddenly, we were the customers.